All right, as promised, we are going to be updating IDW Optimus Prime scaling in the big 2025. So y'all already know I've done this plenty of times, or at least this is my second time doing this. And I said I was going to give y'all a fully detailed version of the big three, or at least the four that I've represented in that video. So to start off here, we are going to be going from Optimus to the Matrix of Leadership and then be concluding with that there. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe and share with your friends, and I will be not wasting any time here. We will be starting off with Heart of Steel Optimus, one of the weaker incarnations of the IDW series, and yet this one still gets to Outerversal quite casually, I'm telling y'all. Now you might say, oh well, but it's Domitus Major, and I'm going to tell y'all this. Domitus is the body, Optimus is the mind. That is still Optimus Prime performing the feats, just in a different body. So without further ado, this would still count as Optimus Prime. And with that being said here, he still managed to solo and kill an elder god. Okay, he killed it. And again, for those of you saying, oh well, he beat Cthulhu, right? No, he did not beat Cthulhu. But can Optimus beat Cthulhu? Absolutely, yes. Because here's the funny thing. There's a plethora of ways to actually scale this. You can scale him to Ramjet. You can scale him to other cosmologies. But let's talk about this here real quick, right? And I'm going to give a brief summary. We all know that the Transformers Omniverse is infinite in size, containing many infinite multiverses. These multiverses are separated by their continuities. Each continuity is labeled under its own, franchise or its own universe name, like Primax or Deus Ex and stuff like that, okay? So, with that being said, each universe in these multiverses is infinite in size and on an infinite dimensional level by the virtue of quantum mechanics actually existing in all of these multiverses. Anyone that's able to affect these multiverses and their higher dimensions, yes, they do have higher dimensions. The only thing really different about these multiverses is what they contain in them. So, for example, the IDW multiverse, which we are going to be talking about anyway, contains not only infinite universes, but conceptual universes. It also has its own higher dimension, which transcends the basic multiverse. So, all those infinite universes and stuff like that make up the continuity. Yeah, they transcend that. But here's the funny thing about that feat, right? We also have the fact that the Elder God actually showed it was threatening other verses, right? And we also know Transformers is connected to Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I think I've said this plenty of times. You can scale Optimus Prime above other cosmologies. That's not hard. It's the same way I argued for Godzilla in the Godzilla vs. Hulk video. Let me know if you guys love that one down below. And pretty much the average Elder God still scales to Cthulhu and Azeroth as they were able to beat him. Now, the Cthulhu mythos contains many infinite universes, okay? They basically got the same stuff, all right? Infinite universes, infinite dimensions, higher reality or higher planes such as the Dizzy, which transcends the multiverse and has no concept of time and space. Matter of fact, each multiverse in the Cthulhu mythos has its own different form of time and space. One of the few examples I use is how like Mortal Kombat works, where you have like Earthrealm, but in Dadia, but Katana's like a whole teenager, but she's like 1,000 years old at the same time. So yeah, she a teenager in her sense, but again, an older woman in Earthrealm sense. So if you live there, you won't age as, fast as in a Danian, but you won't age like a human, you'll age like an Danian. Basically, each universe or each multiverse has their own different properties. So keep in mind, right, Optimus already would scale above the Cthulhu mythos, or at least the basic fundamentals of it, as he scales above the basic Elder God. And then we also have the fact that we have to go into Dungeons and Dragons. Now you might say, oh, really? Why Dungeons and Dragons? Because again, they couldn't beat theirs without prep. Optimus simply looked at his, walked into the water where it was, in its own element, mind you, and straight up just duked it out with it. So, with that being said, how strong is Dungeons and Dragons? This means that it was threatening the material plane, which is one of the few layers of the Dungeons and Dragons multiverse. Dungeons and Dragons is a multi-layered, infinite layer multiverse, with the basic plane, where all the humans and stuff live, is where, everyone else lives on there. Keep in mind, this still contains many other infinite universes, so it's just one part of the multiverse that's just a lower plane, where it contains 3D to 40 to even higher dimensional planes, right? Now, the strongest creatures on that plane are the basic dragons, with some of the higher tier dragons, like the golden dragon, and I believe even one other dragon. But again, they scale above the main five, which are fire, poison, death, ice, and lightning. Okay, so they scale above that. This was all because, they're known as the strongest beings in the material plane, including scaling above gods that embody the literal concept of magic throughout the entirety of the Dungeons and Dragons mythos. So, with that being said, considering they also have infinitely layered, universes, and pretty much will operate on the same thing as like Hilbert space and stuff like that, Dungeons and Dragons, you could easily get to Outerversal quite casually. So again, Heart of Steel Optimus would be able to beat up a golden dragon or even the basic dragons of that plane because they scale above some of the strongest creatures, which would scale above the gods. The same gods, okay, are capable of affecting the entirety of the multiverse on a conceptual level, meaning they're able to attack concepts on an infinite dimensional or an infinite layered level, okay? So, with that being said, that will cover just one feat. Keep in mind what I just explained. This one feat right here is for the weakest of Optimus. Oh, wait, we're not even done because we got to get into Ramjet. The Herald of Unicron that was literally captured by these guys. And he only had, I don't know, maybe 5 minicons to boost himself? He also had absorbed 4 dead universes, 4 or 5 dead universes. Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy as well. And, he also had a connection to Unicron and had antimatter, which pretty much destroys mathematics. It's actually kind of crazy here as well, because, he couldn't even escape the Elder Gods until they got bored of him and just looked to somewhere else. So he couldn't do nothing to him. The best he could do was really protect his mini-cons, but again, he was getting tortured and ripped apart over and over again. So he was also able to fight Vector Prime, the same dude that's able to stave off a large majority of Unicron's, damage and stuff like that, which is absolutely crazy because, when Unicron damages something, he can damage everything on a narrative level. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, Heart of Steel Optimus would scale above the herald of a being who could destroy narratives and was able to contend with a being. Keep in mind, Vector Prime actually had to fight dirty on him, meaning he probably could have beat him in a straight-up fight. But again, it's one of the 13 original Primes, so he obviously was going to have something up his sleeve, right? So, with that being said here, this means Heart of Steel Optimus, you can easily scale him relative or maybe even slightly above an avatar of the 13 original Primes. And again, he is considered one of the weakest Optimus Primes out there. And again, we also have the Cthulhu Mythos scaling, the Dungeons and Dragons scaling, and Unicron Trilogy scaling. You get dip that pinky toe in there and stuff all like that. So Heart of Steel Optimus already gets IDW Optimus to Outerversal based on this one feat alone. Crazy how one feat can have so much to it, right? And again, all you gotta do is literally read the Hearts of Steel run, and they'll give you the information. Matter of fact, you can read the Infestation run yourself, and you'll find all the information. And keep in mind, yes, these are H.P. Lovecraft's elder gods and stuff like that, so they would apply to that cosmology. So with that being said here, we can now go into the big dog himself. We can get into those good feats, if you know what I mean. So what has Optimus Prime done to cement that he is far stronger than what his Heart of Steel's form did, right? Well, believe it or not, he's got some criminally underrated feats, right? Let's run them down. For starters, he fought Baron Kaza, who was originally a Marvel villain, all right? Baron Kaza was so durable. Keep in mind, this also scaled to his attack potency. Baron Kaza was durable enough to basically just go through the entropy cloud like it was nothing. And was even able to traverse it, go around it, just maneuver through it like it was nothing. And the entropy cloud was capable of destroying microspace. Oh, well, it's just a small universe. Yeah, but did you know this universe is beyond space and time? And even the concepts of life and death? Still looking into that, but again, it's some very interesting take on it where microspace is just, beyond the concept of death itself. Which, by the way, Optimus could. That will be further down the line in this video. But with the fact that Optimus is basically fighting against a being who can take the destruction of his own universe, which is beyond the space-time of the IDW multiverse, I think that says a lot for what Optimus can do with just hands on his own. And keep in mind, again, he beat him. But let's go into a much more popular feat. Optimus defeating the likes of Nova Prime, who had the power of the dead universe, or should I say the dead multiverse, the living dead multiverse, that being the void. And keep in mind, this is just simply Optimus locking in. No, more hesitating, no more doubts, just simply him putting his mind to it and telling the void, nah, bro, or telling Nova Prime, excuse me, nah, enough is enough. We ending this right here and now. And he straight up did it. He sure did do it. I mean, bro had enough of him and just killed him like it was nothing. And the funny part about it is, right, the Void had the full power of the Void right there. And keep in mind, the Void is a multiverse, right? And this is because the Void had awoken in his original universe, or his original, sentient mass, and absorbed every other dead universe into him. And Optimus just killed the guy that had his power. Crazy, ain't it? And keep in mind, the Void's properties would be the same as any other multiverse within the Transformers Omniverse. And then the fact that Shockwave was using his power to collapse all of existence. Everything. Didn't matter what it is, Shockwave just wanted it gone. He had enough of it. And for those of you saying, like, oh, well, he's talking to Nova Prime and Galvatron, they wouldn't know anything about the Transformers multiverse. Yeah, that's the Void talking to him. The literal living universe that can warp reality. Yeah, Shockwave was talking to him. And keep in mind, this means the Void would have absorbed the conceptual universes, as these guys were originally planets that bored their way into other realities and infected them with their concepts. So, yeah, Shockwave was a madman. But that dude was smart. A mad genius, if you will. But with that being said, so Optimus with just bare hands already gets to Outerversal just by those feats anyway. So now let's go into the Matrix of Leadership, one of the best weapons that was given to Optimus Prime. Now, keep this in mind. Optimus does have his own fair share of abilities, such as his regeneration and his erasure existence. I think you guys know I call him the master of the Matrix because he just uses it more than any other version of Optimus Prime, right? And so he would also scale to its raw power, as he was able to tank the Heart of Darkness, and the Heart of Darkness is just simply the Matrix without its limitations. So meaning anyone could wield it quite casually. You don't have to be good or evil to wield it. You want it, go ahead and get it. And it has the power greater than that of the Matrix leadership. Now, keep in mind, all matrices are multiversal singularities. So in terms of raw power, once again, they would scale to each other. The Matrix of Leadership throughout the continuities has been able to do some very impressive things, such as being able to seal a hole in space-time. Yeah, being able to just casually seal it, no problem. And keep in mind, the Matrix itself, on its energy readings alone, is comparable to that of the full power of the Star Saber. Keep in mind, this was stated by Victorion, who was a combiner during the time of the Primes, or the original 13 as well. So, with that being said, the Star Saber in the hands of a Prime is capable of one-shotting everything in the Transformers multiverse. Like, just, straight up one-tapping all of it. And again, Optimus's erasure existence also comes into play a lot in combat. For example, he was able to erase infraspace, a realm of pure data, a metaphysical plane, mind you. And he's casually able to do this. He's purged Megatron, and again, this shows he has control, by the way, purged Megatron of his corrupting influence from the Quintesson core he took just so that he could survive. And then you have the fact that he's able to manipulate it and control how it moves, how it flows. But again, let's talk about the literal raw power of the Matrix, the blasting power, if you will. Now, while yes, comparable to the Starsaber, which is able to, destroy a Transformers multiverse in the hands of a Prime, you could also still scale this to the Darkspark feat. And thanks to Reginald, who pointed this out, and Prime 1 for providing the scans and stuff like that. So, believe it or not, the Darkspark actually contains the power of Mortalus, who is literally the god of death of the Transformers cosmology. Yeah, so Optimus Prime basically beat death. Oh, so that also means Baver's Optimus, with his nullification ability, essentially nullified death itself. Crazy, ain't it? Then you have Unicron Trilogy Optimus, or at least during his Armada era, when he used his full power of the Matrix to actually harm a avatar of Unicron that was capable of destroying and even consuming his own narrative. So, yeah, you got that going for you. It's just... it's absolutely ridiculous what Optimus Prime can do. And again, he's the nicest of the Autobots. It's actually crazy. But here's the thing. So we all know Monstructor, right? The combiner meant to be able to kill and fight against Omega Supreme and stuff like that. Now, sure, Omega Supreme is usually able to beat him, but Monstructor, was whooping him out this one day. Because I guess you can say he was recharging at the moment, so he was kind of caught lacking. But Optimus came to help him, and he was trying desperately to simply reason with Monstructor, telling him, look, you don't got to do this. We can help you. We can undo everything that was done, that was done wrong to you. But Monstructor didn't care. He didn't listen. So Optimus said, well, I tried, and shoved his hand through him. Casually. The same guy that took attacks from a weakened Omega Supreme that can go blow for blow with a full power Omega Supreme and almost win. And yet Optimus, right there, one-shot him. Absolutely crazy, ain't it? Then you also have the fact that Omega Supreme is the casual combiner bully. That's my nickname for him. Casually bullying combiners and stuff like that, like Devastator. But wait, there's more. Optimus being able to overwhelm Thunderwing, who he confirmed was a threat to everything they held dear. And his shockwaves were also causing damage across the mainline IDW universe. So Optimus being able to beat him, by the way, Stormbringer Optimus just had to lay into this dude with everything he had. And this was after, other characters couldn't beat him, like Megatron, Trypticon, and Omega Supreme and stuff like that. So back then, they couldn't beat this guy. And here is a much stronger Optimus being able to, beat him. Optimus would also scale to the feats of Megatron as well in his OR-13 or whatchamacallit, stealth bomber body. And he was able to injure the Void, the sentient multiverse, and gave him a full-blown injury that had him retreat back to his neighboring reality or his dimensional borders. So, there you have it. IDW Optimus scaling. You can also give him the faster light to measurable levels of speed as well. But that's going to be all for today, you guys. Be sure to comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. And I'll see you guys for the next one. And I do believe the next one I'm doing is Unicron Trilogy Optimus. So, yeah, just hope you guys will get ready for that because that one is going to be one of my favorite videos to do. Peace.